learning that authorities are saying former Virginia Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax shot and killed his wife as well as himself.
Just after midnight, April 16th, 2026, Annandale, Virginia. A 16-year-old boy picks up his phone and dials 911. His name is Cameron, and the words that fall out of his mouth will stay with everyone who hears them. "I think my dad stabbed my mom." Stabbed. That's the word he uses. Because when you're 16 years old and you're standing over your mother's body on a basement floor and you can see holes in her shirt, your brain fills in the rest. It grabs for the closest thing that makes sense. He was wrong about the stab wounds. He was not wrong about his father. Fairfax County Police pull up to 8100 Guinevere Drive at 12:15 a.m. They find Dr. Cerina Fairfax, 49 years old, on the cold basement floor. Multiple gunshot wounds. Unconscious. Bleeding out. A woman who had spent years building something. A career, a family, a life. Lying there while her teenage son watches strangers try to save her. They search the rest of the house. Upstairs, primary bedroom, Justin Fairfax, 47 years old, former Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, a man who 3 years ago was being spoken about in the same breath as the future of American politics. Dead. Self-inflicted gunshot to the head. One firearm recovered, used twice that night, and Cameron is still on the phone. Now here's the one question I need you to hold on to for the entire video, because everything else builds toward answering it. How does a man who once stood one step away from becoming Virginia's first black governor in history end up in a bedroom with a gun he'd already used on his wife? Stay with me until the very end, because somewhere in this story are two safety tips, real ones, that could protect you or someone you love if you ever find yourself inside a situation like Cerina's. Because this did not start on April 16th. It started years earlier, with a rise nobody expected, an allegation that gutted everything, and a collapse that happened so slowly. The people closest to him almost didn't notice until it was too late. Welcome to True Crime Footprint, where we unveil the darkest mysteries and the most terrifying true crime tales. Kindly hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our new stories. Your support keeps these stories alive.
Dr. Cerina Fairfax, beyond this tragedy, she was a mother, a mentor, and someone who changed lives. Our Katie Lusso continues our team coverage.
Tonight, as you can see, there are flowers here outside the front door of Dr. Cerina Fairfax's dental practice. Now, she wasn't just a politician's wife. She was an accomplished woman, a mother, and a beloved dentist here in Fairfax. Tonight, I spoke with one of her friends turned patients who says she would go out of her way to ensure everyone had access to dental care.
I'm gonna miss my friend.
Tyrone Sims II says he first met Dr. Cerina Fairfax in 2008 at an event through one of her relatives.
Come to find out, we grew up right down the street from each other.
A friendship grew. Over the years, she managed to convince him to start going to the dentist again.
The things I needed to do to take care of myself that I'd been stubborn to do for the first 40 years of my life.
But not just any dentist, she became his dentist.
Each visit was definitely wasn't boring.
He says she had a way of making people feel at ease.
She was one of the most loving, caring people.
That she would go out of her way to make sure anyone who needed dental care got it, even if they couldn't afford it.
It wasn't just a profession for her, right? It was an expression of love and compassion. It was her way of service to others.
He, like so many others, were heartbroken to hear what happened to her.
Cars stating that his dad might have stabbed his mom, saying that she's laying on the ground bleeding.
We've since learned that they were in the midst of a divorce. Court documents show she told the court the former lieutenant governor was struggling with alcohol abuse, citing no expectation or hope of reconciliation. Sims says he had no idea how bad it was.
Cerina was a quiet person, and this personal things. And I understand me not knowing, and I don't think anyone did. Not to this extent.
As he reflects on their friendship and who she was,
definitely would put politician's wife at the bottom of the list.
He says one thing will change for certain.
I'm not getting another dentist. That's how much she means to me. I just not.
What do you think she'd have to say about that?
She'd be laughing right now and tell me I'm stupid.
He says it's important for people to know who she was.
Cerina is a real person and an accomplished person.
Right now, the focus on wrapping their arms around her two teenage children.
Whatever dreams, hopes, plans that they had before this tragedy, that they still know that they can meet those.
Duke University, Durham, North Carolina. Late 1990s, two students meet on campus. One studies public policy, the other biology, on her way to dental school. Both sharp, both driven. The kind of people who don't just talk about what they want, they go get it. Justin Fairfax graduates Duke in 2000, earns his law degree from Columbia, makes the law review, then lands in the Eastern District of Virginia as a federal prosecutor. He goes after public corruption, major crime, and he is good at it. Cerina takes her own lane. Dental degree, magna cum laude. Starts Dr. Fairfax and Associates Family Dentistry in Fairfax, Virginia. In 2015, VCU's School of Dentistry names her Outstanding Graduate of the Last Decade. Her patients call her someone with quiet intellect and genuine empathy for people in pain. They marry, 2 kids, Cameron and Karis. Then in 2018, Justin Fairfax is sworn in as Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, second highest office in the Commonwealth. And at that swearing-in ceremony, his father hands him a document, a manumission paper, dated 1798, freeing his ancestor, Simon Fairfax, from the very family whose name Justin now carried into office. From enslaved to lieutenant governor. One family line. That moment meant something real. But here is what gets left out of that story every single time. While Justin was building a legacy that needed cameras and crowds to exist, Cerina was building one that didn't need either. No speeches, no applause, just patience, school pickups, practice management, and 2 kids who needed a present parent. One of them was constructing something that could stand on its own, and the other needed an audience to feel like he was standing at all. And I say that not to judge, but because it matters. It matters deeply to what comes next. If someone in your circle is showing the world one version of themselves, while the people closest to them are living with a completely different one, pay attention. That gap has a cost, and someone always ends up paying it. Because in February 2019, Justin Fairfax's audience didn't just disappear. It turned on him completely. February 2019, Richmond, Virginia. Governor Ralph Northam is drowning in controversy after a racist photo surfaces from his 1984 medical school yearbook. Calls for his resignation are everywhere, and the man constitutionally next in line, the man who would walk into that governor's office, is Justin Fairfax, Virginia's first black governor. That is how close he was. Within 72 hours, 2 women come forward. Dr. Vanessa Tyson, a college professor, alleges that in 2004 at the Democratic National Convention in Boston, Fairfax forced her to perform oral sex in a hotel room. Days later, Meredith Watson comes forward saying Fairfax raped her in 2000 at Duke University. Premeditated, she says. Aggressive. Fairfax denies everything. Calls it a political hit job. Says both encounters were fully consensual. Armed publicly demands an FBI investigation into his own case. The FBI never investigates. He refuses to resign. He finishes his term as lieutenant governor in January 2022, but his party has already moved on without him. He runs for governor in the 2021 Democratic primary. He loses. Badly. The career that was supposed to make history is finished. Now here is the part that most coverage skips past. Justin Fairfax does not grieve and rebuild. He becomes consumed. He starts emailing journalists, old screenshots, old headlines, old coverage, demanding they re-examine what was written about him. He reaches out to the FBI repeatedly. Nothing comes of it. Not once. He cannot let it go. And while he is fighting a battle entirely inside his own head that no one else is fighting alongside him, Cerina is at the practice, seeing patients, raising their children, keeping everything afloat. 2 people, same house, completely different realities. Here's what I need you to sit with, because this is the part most people don't catch until it's too late. When someone you love stops engaging with the present and becomes obsessed with a version of the past they can't fix. That is not a phase. That is a warning. If you are not subscribed to this channel yet, I want you to go to the comments right now and tell me why. Because I genuinely want to understand what kind of person watches a story like this, about a woman who saw every sign and still decides they don't need to know more. By 2022, Justin Fairfax had no income, no political future, no party, and no clear sense of who he was without the title. And he had just bought a gun, with his children's horseback riding money. 2022, the Fairfax home, Annandale, Virginia. Justin rarely leaves the house anymore. He is in his office. Door closed. Some days it stays that way from morning until midnight. Cerina notices the bottles first. Wine, empty ones, on shelves, on the floor, tucked near his desk. Daily, heavy. What starts as a habit becomes a pattern. And patterns, when no one intervenes, become the ceiling a family lives under. His income, which had exceeded $400,000 in 2023, drops to virtually zero by 2025. Not a slowdown, zero. Meanwhile, the debt accumulates past $750,000. Default judgments, warrant in debt cases from major banks. The former federal prosecutor cannot pay his credit cards, but the detail that stops people cold, the one that tells you exactly where his mind was, is the gun. He buys a handgun in 2022. The money was set aside for Cameron and Karis's horseback riding lessons. He tells Cerina it is for personal security. He lost his state security detail when he left office. Maybe understandable, except that same year he disappears, walks out of the house with the gun and a suitcase. They find him in the woods of a public park. Judge McAvoy later calls it an adverse psychological event. By this point, Cerina keeps her own groceries in a mini fridge in her bedroom. The kitchen had become somewhere she no longer felt safe in her own home. She files for divorce on July 18, 2025, and she installs cameras throughout the house, quietly, because she knows what she is living with and she needs documentation. Which brings me to the 2 safety tips I promised you at the start. Tip 1, document everything. Cerina's cameras became the most critical evidence in this entire investigation. If your home environment is becoming unpredictable, start a record. Dates, incidents, photos, footage where legally permitted. It may protect you in court. It may protect your life. Tip 2, know the escalation pattern. A partner who files false police reports against you. A partner who disappears with a weapon. Substance abuse combined with financial collapse and total social withdrawal. These are not rough patches. They are a trajectory. If you recognize 2 or more of these in your own situation, please reach out to someone, a counselor, a domestic violence hotline, a person you trust completely. Do not wait for a legal document to confirm what your instincts are already telling you. Cerina documented. She filed. She got lawyers involved. She did everything right, but a judge had just signed an order that Justin Fairfax read as the end of everything he had left.
The couple and their 2 teenage children were in the throes of what police describe as a messy divorce.
It all kind of culminated last night when Justin Fairfax shot several times and killed his wife, ran to a different part of the home, and then killed himself.
According to court documents obtained by News 4, Cerina Fairfax filed for divorce from Justin in 2025. Just last month, the Fairfax County judge granted custody of the children to Cerina and ordered Justin to move out of the home by the end of April. In the custody opinion, a judge wrote, quote, "The wife testified that heavy daily alcohol consumption by the father has become the norm." The court documents say Justin Fairfax spiraled into alcoholism and isolated himself from family involvement following the 2019 sexual assault allegations against him while he was in office. Allegations he denied, but still weighed on him tremendously, the judge wrote. During the custody battle, the judge also found, quote, "The evidence also showed that in 2022, the father purchased a handgun with money intended for his children's horseback riding lessons." During the divorce proceedings, Cerina Fairfax installed cameras throughout the family's home, according to police. Police say those cameras were rolling last night, just like they were back in January when Justin called police to claim that Cerina had assaulted him.
We reviewed those cameras and we corroborated that the alleged assault never occurred.
Court documents show evidence that Cerina Fairfax was actively involved in her children's lives, finding no evidence that Cerina ever engaged in inappropriate conduct and maintained great relationships with the 2 kids. The court found, however, that Justin was currently unable to have a healthy relationship with his kids due to his alcohol use and self-isolation within the home.
March 30th, 2026. Fairfax County Circuit Court, Judge Timothy J. McAvoy signs a custody and visitation order, and the language inside it is not soft. The judge calls Justin Fairfax a talented man who struggles with undefined emotional and psychological issues. He orders Justin to vacate the family home by April 30th, 2 weeks away. He awards primary physical custody of Cameron and Karis to Cerina, and in what must have hit Justin like a verdict on his entire life, The judge notes that the children's success is attributable to their mother's grit and that Justin had essentially stopped being a father in any meaningful sense. Every pillar gone in one document. January 2026. Justin had called the police claiming Cerina assaulted him. The home surveillance cameras Cerina installed exposed it as a fabrication. The false report goes nowhere, but it tells you the state of that house. 2 people at war inside 4 walls. April 10th, a show cause order is issued. Justin must appear in court on April 21st. April 13th, court papers are served to Justin personally. 3 days before the shooting, Police Chief Kevin Davis would later point directly to that moment, being physically handed those documents, as a likely trigger. For a man whose entire identity had been power, reputation, and control, being ordered out of his own home, losing his children on paper, and being told by a judge that his kids succeeded despite him, that is not just a legal ruling. For someone already that far gone, that is an ending. Most people stop here. But what happens next is the part that reframes everything. Cerina's cameras are still running. After midnight, on April 16th, detectives use that footage to reconstruct what happens. Justin shoots Cerina multiple times in the basement, then walks upstairs to the primary bedroom. One gun, used twice. Cameron calls 911. He thinks his father used a knife, because nothing in a 16-year-old's experience prepares him for what gunshot wounds through a shirt actually look like. Senators Warner and Caney say they are heartbroken. Governor Spanberger says this tragedy reminds us that domestic violence can occur in any family, in any place. Journalist and friend Sophia Nelson says simply that Justin Fairfax would now be remembered alongside the many men who chose destruction over accountability. And Cameron and Karis, 2 high-achieving teenagers, a basketball captain, and a varsity lacrosse player, are now without both parents. One taken. One lost to what he chose to do. To the family of Dr. Cerina Fairfax, her children, her patients, her colleagues, and every person who called her their rock, this channel sends its deepest condolences. She deserved every single day she did not get. To everyone who made it to the end, thank you for watching, for your attention, and for joining us on this journey of reflection. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and above all, stay safe. See you on our next video.